Phishing attacks. That's the topic of this latest channel chat. I'm Maggie Miller, and I'm here with Peter Scheffler, also known as Chef around here at F5. He is one of our security solutions architects, and he is coming to us from Canada. So welcome.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. We're very far apart. I don't know. Are we across the border? So that's the way we can cross the border these days, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we're just a stone's throw away. We could actually like clap.
Yeah, kind of clap whichever way we have to clap. Yeah. So.
So you are a resident like phishing expert. So what I wanted to ask you about first is what are some of the changes you're seeing in phishing attacks due to COVID-19? Because I'm sure a lot has changed.
So I think a lot changes and a lot stays the same all at the same time. What we've seen over the last few years with phishing is it's cyclical and it targets events. Typically we see a rise during times where you would normally buy things online. Maybe there's a normal gift time. So in North America, maybe Mother's Day or something like that, where people tend to buy things online because maybe you're not close to those people and you're sending stuff to them. And over time, we've seen that. What has changed now in the COVID days is maybe the targets have changed. Typically, we think of a phishing attack as something against a financial organization or something like that, or maybe a traditional, we've seen over the last 2-3 years now, the retail organizations are targeted as well. But what we've seen in the case of COVID is the attackers go where the business is. So we've all switched our buying habits, not being able to go out to grocery stores. A lot of people have gone to online delivery services, and that's where we've seen a huge increase. The increase there has been 400% in the number of people logging in, and an increase of 300% of the amount of attacks against those. So phishing attacks, credential stuffing attacks. So the increase there is simply because the attackers know where people are. And traditionally, those environments or those customer systems in the delivery market probably didn't have the technology to protect them. So the phishers can get in there and find a place where there's a weak link and be able to attack that.
Yeah, so they're just seeing that opportunity. Well, when it comes to F5 partners, why do they need to be concerned about these phishing attacks and how can they address them?
So I think what I've spoken with other partners is this is an area where people traditionally may not have solutions that are protecting themselves from phishing. The banks, the large financial services organizations, even the large retailers and the web monsters out there, they know that phishing is a problem, and that's something that they've spent a lot of time over the last 4 or 5, maybe 12 years implementing services. The traditional mom and pop kind of websites, they may not have that kind of infrastructure in place today. So this is a case where it's a matter of educating them that they are targeted by these new attacks that they may not have been aware that they're even seeing, and having problems where people are stealing credentials or being able to get into their supply chain and be able to steal stuff, get credit card data, all these things. And they may not have the infrastructure, the logging, all those different things in place today. And that's a case where the partners need to educate those customers, those kind of people that wouldn't traditionally be a target normally.
And finally, how can partners protect their customers from these attacks?
So first of all, is education. Phishing is an education thing. People need to understand that they can't take the candy from the crazy person in the van. That clicking on those links is a challenge. That is always the first thing to do. But then looking at solutions that are going to look at the traffic itself, be able to protect exfilling of data. So things where credit cards are in the payload going out the door, where credit cards shouldn't be in there. Those are things where we can provide that. So a web app firewall is very important in this. SSL visibility is also important. So the F5 SSL orchestration tool, being able to decrypt the traffic, see the malware or the exfilled data, whichever case it might be, and present that to the security appliances that they're selling already. They might be selling a next gen firewall to their customers, or they might be selling a data leakage prevention tool already, but those devices can't see the traffic because it's encrypted. Roughly 90% of the phishing attacks today go through an encrypted piece of pipe, and the being able to decrypt that, which an F5 does very well, and then hand that decrypted traffic off to those appliances and let them do what they really do well: look for data leakage, look for malware, and then we can re-encrypt that and then bring that back. So that's something that our partners really can focus on with the SSL orchestration and as well as web app firewalling.
Great. Well, this is all great advice and insight. Thank you, Peter.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me, and stay safe.